Hey guys, today I'm going to be teaching you how to create Totoro nails. And if you want to create the other characters, I created them the same way that I did Totoro. I just did smaller pieces of tape, and obviously I used different colors. But today I'm just going to be teaching you how to do the actual Totoro nail. And okay, so the colors that I used were, I used Seche Vite for the top coat. And I know a lot of people have been saying that Seche Vite shrinks the nail polish or it gets really gloopy. But I find if you apply it to the nail when it's semi-dry, it works a lot better, and I haven't seen any shrinkage so far. So for the body of Totoro, I used Hook and Line by China Glaze. And then I used Sinful Colors base coat for the base coat. And then I used Snowy White by Sinful Colors for the eyes. And then I also used China Glaze Platinum Silver for the stomach of Totoro. And then I also used, this is Finger Paints, and it's Charcoal Black for the pupils of the eyes, the whiskers, and the little triangles on Totoro's stomach. Okay. And then I like using acetone. It makes for really quick cleanup. I don't recommend it using it on your nails all the time, but I like it when you make a little mistake and then you can just go ahead and clean it up. And what I use to clean it up with is a round tipped brush. And then I also used a very fine tipped dotting tool for the eyes of Totoro and for the little whiskers, and then for the little triangles on Totoro's stomach. Okay, and I've actually already applied a base coat to my nail, so make sure that you apply a base coat before you do this, because the blue color tends to bleed a little bit, and so it can stain your nail. But I've already done the base coat for Totoro, so let's get started. Okay guys, so I tried putting the tape on with the camera running, but apparently I'm just not that good at putting on tape and trying to run the camera at the same time. So I went ahead and put the tape on already, but I'll show you how I put the tape on. So I took a small rectangular piece of tape, and depending on how wide this is going to depend on how big Totoro's forehead is. So you kind of want to make it a little bit small, because you want enough space for his ears, if you can sort of see in that one. But I put it right down the middle, so it would kind of go like right here. And then I just pressed that down and made sure it had a tight seal. And then for the ear portion, I did right triangles. And how I did that was I cut a square piece of tape, and as you can see, I cut right down the middle here. And this creates two equal portions of right triangles that you can use to put on either side for the ears. And now you're ready for polish. Okay, so and don't worry if it gets a little messy, because like I said, you can just use a round tipped brush and that will clear off any mistakes that you make. Okay, so now that you have that on there, now you're going to go ahead and take off the tape, because you don't want it to dry. Sometimes it can take a little bit of the polish with it, and then it'll look all chipped. So I like taking them off one at a time. If you try to take it off all at once, sometimes it can get a little smudged. Okay, and then the last one down the middle. then now you have ears and a forehead, and you're all ready to let that dry. And I'd say you'd want it to completely dry. That way, when you start putting on the eyes, I noticed that the white gets a little tacky if this color isn't completely dry. So I had a little bit of an issue with that when I first did these nails. All right, so I'm gonna let mine dry and then we'll continue. Okay, so now that you have your Totoro body completed, now you're gonna put on the eyes. And I like putting on the eyes first, that way you know how much room that you have to put on the belly and put on the whiskers and things like that. So I like putting on the eyes first. And we're going to be using, like I said, Snow Me White. And I don't have any dotting tools actually, so I just use the end of my round-tipped brush. And it actually works really well. So I'm just going to take a little bit of white. And then I'm just going to place the eyes on Totoro. So now that you have your eyes for Totoro, you're going to let it dry for a little bit, and then you're going to put the black dots on for the pupils. Okay, so my white isn't completely dry, but I'm going to go ahead and put on the black. And this is where I have my very, very fine-tipped dotting tool. So I guess I do have one dotting tool, but mainly I just use ends of pens or, you know, toothpicks, things like that. So for the pupils, you're going to use a very fine-tip dotting tool because you want the pupils to be as small as possible, because Totoro kind of has that wide-eyed look all the time. So, and there's the eyes for Totoro, and I'm just gonna let that dry for a little bit before I put on the belly. I put the belly on next. Okay, so now we're going to do the belly. And for the belly, remember we're using the platinum silver from China Glaze. And Totoro has a very big belly. And you kind of want to give it that rounded look, so he looks sort of jolly, I guess. But that's what the finished product looks like right there. And you can go a little bit farther on the edges. I didn't really go that far. Actually, I might go, well, I think I'll leave it like that. Okay, so then you have the belly of Totoro. And now you can do the whiskers for Totoro, and that's what they should look like. Just thin, very, you know, wispy looking. And for the whiskers of Totoro, I use the very fine-tipped end of my paintbrush, and it's a little stiff, so I'm going to put it in my acetone for a second so we can just wait for this to dry. Okay, so now I have my brush all ready, and I'm gonna just put the whiskers on Totoro. And forgive me if this doesn't come out looking amazing, because I'm actually left-handed. So I have that side done. And that side done. So as you can see, Totoro now has his whiskers. And now this is where you can put the little belly triangles onto Totoro. And it doesn't really matter how many you put on. I put 3 and then 4 on the bottom, just because he has more on the bottom than he does the top. But he actually has more triangles in the movie. But, I mean, we're just doing nails here, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, so I'm going to grab a little bit more black. And I'm still using the fine tip for this. So I'm just going to put little triangles. And actually my silver wasn't quite dry at the bottom, so it kind of has a little smudge. I'm just going to go ahead and fix that real quick. Okay, so I'm just gonna wait for this to dry, but basically that's how you create the Totoro nail. And you obviously put the bottom one on there, but mine's not completely dry, so I'm just gonna wait for it to dry before finishing. But after that, then you just put your top coat on, and then you have the finished product of Totoro nails. So happy painting, girls.